Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from IT Visualizer channel. Today we will begin a new lab or a new series. Okay, we will call it Marvel and DC United. What about this series and what does it talks about? We will have a small presentation. First of all, we have a storyline for our lab. It's year 2019 in a desert Iceland. We have Professor X has an ambitious project to create the first supercomputer to simulate the whole human brain operations, and to achieve his goal he needs all of the computing resources he can get from the whole world. So he created his first Trojan, equipped with the latest artificial intelligence, to take control on all the cloud computing resources from the famous cloud computing providers like Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS and Google servers. So he began his evil plan, and he found a way to inject his Trojan to the cloud servers for Microsoft and Amazon and Google servers, and it was just the beginning of a lot of business cracking, or the businesses networks and domains was down, and he began spreading his Trojan to the internet as well, and chaos has begun spreading, and a lot of parallelization or whole systems for a lot of computers in different countries has been paralyzed. And actually this will also affect the computer systems that are controlling the military weapons in most of the countries. So this also is a very if this Trojan has infected these military computers, it will begin a third world war. So we have our Avengers team and the DC Comics teams. For the first time they have been united to withstand this danger, but it was too powerful. Most of the computers was under the control of the Trojan. So both teams has a strategy to deal with this danger. All of the heroes of both teams will try to search the whole world for the secret hide for this scientist and try to destroy his secret lab. But there are two heroes that will be excluded from this mission. They are assigned a different task. So due to the crisis that all the technological infrastructure of both teams was controlled by the Trojan. So most of their computers of the Avengers team and the DC Comics teams is now controlled by this mad scientist. So they need to first to have a new IT infrastructure that it is out or it's not controlled by this mad scientist. So they begin searching. They have a rumor was spreading that there was a data center for Microsoft Azure cloud data center that was in Egypt. It was under construction and it's not controlled yet by the virus. So Iron Man and Batman will travel to Egypt and try to seize this data center and create two new domain controllers for both teams and make a VPN with each other through using Microsoft Azure cloud system. So will they succeed to make this before the virus or the Trojan reaches the last data center? So here our lab, we will talk about Microsoft Azure implementation. We will talk about how we can create a domain through the Microsoft Azure cloud, how we can create virtual machines through the Microsoft Azure cloud, how we can make templates for the Microsoft Azure cloud. And here we are working with two teams. We are working with the Marvel team or the Avengers team and the DC Comics team. So we will have two domains, one domain for Marvel and the other domain for DC Comics. So let's see the scenario. Here we have our story finished. So let's begin the scenario. Here we have two active directories, or we have two forests. One forest is for Marvel and the other forest is for DC Comics. And in the Marvel forest we will have two domain controllers, and in the DC Comics we will have two domain controllers. And in each forest, as I said before, we have two domain controllers. The second domain controller will act as a file server. And not only a file server, it will act as a Wins and a WSOS server. So here we have two domain controllers in each domain, and we have as we said before, 2 domain controllers in each domain in one forest for each of the 2 teams. Okay, and then we will begin. Marvel domain contains all Marvel heroes characters with groups according to the location and type. Here we have all of the real names of the Marvel characters. All of them are there, so we'll find Thor, we will find Iron Man, we will find a lot of heroes that we know. Okay, for example, Captain America, and all of this we will have it as real Active Directory user accounts, and we will group them according to their species and their location, and we will make department shares for them and user home directory shares for them. And we have a login script, okay, that will add the time zone and performance setting and keyboard layout, English and Arabic, and the setting for a program called idle logoff exe file to log the machine after 3,000 seconds. Anyway, we have a login script that every user in the Active Directory for the Marvel domain, it will be implemented on any user that access or have an Active Directory user account in the Marvel domain. What this login script will do, it will add the time zone for Egypt, okay, and it will add 2 keyboard layouts for English and Arabic, and it will initiate a program, or it will initialize a program that will log off the machine if it is idle for 3,000 seconds, and other things we will discuss it. I will show you this script and what does it do exactly. So here we have all of our Marvel heroes will be in this lab with their real names. I will show you also the names and the groups and everything, and then we can continue our lab. Here we can see, and also DC Comics will have all of the DC Comics heroes characters. We will have them also grouped according to their location and type, and there are shares for each department, the same that we have done in the Marvel domain. We will do it for the DC Comics domain. We will have the same login script doing the same. So we have 2 domains. We will work with the same, or we will do exact or almost exact setting. I mean exact setting for example, the login script will be the same in both domains, but the differences will be only the users in the Marvel domain will be the characters of the Marvel domain, or the character of the Marvel universe, and in the DC Comics the users and groups will be for the DC Comics universe. Okay, so this is second thing. Here the Microsoft Azure works with a different concept than the normal hypervisors. By the way, Microsoft Azure is considered like one of the hypervisors. For example, we have been working before in the previous lab, the DC Comics, we were working with something called Hyper-V. This is a hypervisor. It is used to create virtual machines, okay, and there is another program called VMware Workstation Pro. This is also another software that is used to create virtual machines, okay, and there is another one's called VirtualBox. It does the same, okay. So Microsoft Azure is the same. It is a platform or a hypervisor that it is used to create virtual machines, and not only virtual machines, it will create virtual networks, okay. So here we will have 2 virtual networks, one virtual network for the Marvel domain and the other virtual network for the DC Comics domain, okay, and we will have a gateway, a virtual gateway for the Marvel domain to get out to the internet, and another one or another virtual gateway for the DC Comics domain to get out to the internet. And we will not only use the gateway for getting out to the internet, but also to have a VPN connection. So at the end of the lab we will have 2 domain controllers, have 2 domains in 2 different forests, and we will make a trust, or we will make not only make a trust, we will make a VPN between them, okay, and something called peering between virtual networks, okay. Anyway, at the end we need to have a trust initiated between the 2 forests, and not only a trust, it is something like a VPN. We will see how this will be done in our lab, so take a note. And then we will also make something called a virtual machine template. We will create a virtual machine on the Azure platform, and then we will make all the tweaks in it. We will install all of our programs needed, for example VLC, Firefox 7-zip and Classic Shell, and all of things that we need, and some tweaks actually in the registry keys in the Windows. And after that we will take an image of this virtual machine, or we'll make it as a virtual machine template, so we can create other virtual machines from this virtual machine that we have took as a template after installing all of the needed programs and tweaks on it. Okay, so it's something like taking an image of the virtual machine after putting all of the necessary programs and tweaks, and then take this image and install it on virtual machines on the Microsoft Azure. This is done in a different way than we have been working with the Hyper-V or virtual or VM Workstation Pro. It is a little bit of different, but anyway I'll show you all how this will be done. And here is some data about the two networks. Here we will have our virtual network. Okay, we'll have an IP range. Of course we will have in every domain or every Active Directory for every team. For example, we have Marvel domain and we have DC Comics domain. We'll have in each domain a DHCP. Okay, and we will have a range for the Marvel PCs and servers for its range of 192.168.1.0/24. This is subnet, and as for DC it will be 10.0.1.0/24. This is the virtual network range for the two domains, and we'll have a gateway. Okay, because our gateway will have will take a whole subnet for it. Okay, what I mean that when we have a virtual gateway, we will everyone that gets out of this gateway will take an IP range. So we, for every gateway we have a range. Okay, for example here the range that the gateway will give for any workstation or any virtual machine that gets out from the Marvel domain, it will be 192.168.2.0, and as for the gateway range for the DC Comics, it will be 10.0.2.0. Anyway, I will just discuss this in the video. Just take note that the gateway, every gateway created on the domain of each one of them will have a separate IP range than the DHCP range. Okay, the gateway will have a different range. Okay, users and groups and group members and computers and servers for both forests are done by PowerShells. All of the groups, groups, users, computers, all of this will be created using PowerShell scripts. Okay, and for every domain we'll have its background and lock screens and screensavers. For example, for Marvel we'll have a background for the Marvel team, we will have a screen saver for the Marvel team, we have a lock screen for the Marvel team, and the same for the DC Comics. Everyone will have its own backgrounds and locks and screensavers. So when the user in each domain will log in to his PC, he will, when he log in, he will see his team background and lock screens and screensavers. Okay, and we have a group policy for each domain. Okay, if we will have some group policies, for example, that we can have the CD and USB opened for some, and for the others it will be blocked. So we will have something like group policy. One example of them is to have an advanced user and default user. Advanced users, we will have the USB and CD-ROM open for them, and the default users, we will have the USB and CD-ROM closed for them. So this is basically the whole scenario. Okay, we'll begin implementing it one by one, so we can have now a small look on our scripts and our folders that we work. And for example, here is the Marvel. Okay, you can see that we have this is the folder that we will have our PowerShell scripts, that from it we will create our users groups and computer objects and security groups automatically. So here, for example, we can see that, just a moment, I need to pause the video for a moment. So here, guys, we have this is the Excel sheet, or this is the text file that will contain all of the Marvel Active Directory users. For example, we can see that this is Thor Odesson, and this is his username, and we will have, for example, Bruce Banner, this is Hulk, okay, and we have his name, okay. So this is basically the first name and the last name, okay. So for example we have Bruce Banner, this is the character of Hulk, okay, and his username will be Hulk. This is the real character, and this is the hero, which is Hulk, and he is from the Department of Avengers. He is from the planet Earth, and this is his password, and this is the location or his organizational unit that he will put in, okay. So we have all of them. We have, for example, Groot, you know, the Groot guy, and we have for example Nebula, okay. We have Tony Stark, Iron Man. This is our hero, or this is the hero, our the main hero for constructing the domain. He will use it as a domain admin. So here is all of our here we have Natasha Simenoff, okay, we know it as Widow Lady, okay, and we have Happy Hogan, we have Valeric, we have a lot of things, okay. So this is basically the first name and the last name for every hero, and the username and the department and the provenance, okay, and the password and the organization unit that these users will be created in, okay. This is the text file, bear with me, and this is the PowerShell script that will create the user automatically after reading them from this text file. So first, this is the users. Here we have another text file that contains the organizational unit. By the way, the first thing that we will create the organizational units, and then we will create the users, and then we will create the groups, and then we will put the users we have created in the groups we have created, and at the end we will create the computers and servers objects, okay. So here we can see that we have a main organizational unit, it's MRST, and then we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, we have 6 organizational units. One of them will contain the admins for the domain, and terminals, this is for the computers objects, and this is robots also for the computer objects, and security groups, this will contain our Active Directory security groups, and this organization unit will contain our servers, and the last one will contain our users, okay. So this is a text file. We will have a script. This is script, one of them is the first line. This one will create the organizational units. So here we have, I have shown you the organizational units, the users. Here we can see the security groups. Here we can see that, just a moment. So here we can see that we have many groups in our domain, Marvel domain. For example, here I have grouped them according to the department. For example, I have Marvel IT, we'll put our Iron Man in this group. We have Marvel Avengers, okay, this is the team of Avengers will be of Marvel will be put in this group. We will have some groups like advanced users and default users. We will use these groups to control the USB and CD-ROM to be opened or closed. For example, advanced users will have CD and USB open for them, and default users will have CD and USB closed for them. We have Marvel Earth. This is where the heroes of Marvel's their location is Earth, so will be here. We will put here in this group. For example, we have Asgard. You know Asgard, there is 2 heroes from the Asgard planet, Thor and his brother, so he will be one in this group. We have, for example, so let's continue. So here we can see that I have grouped the Marvel characters according to their location, to their gender or their species, and according to the department. For example, you have Marvel IT group, okay. We have, for example, Marvel Basic and Admin and Advanced. This is groups to control the access of the internet. And we have, for example, Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll have, you know, all the members of the Guardian of the Galaxy, but they are members of the Avengers team as a whole. And we have some groups for the shares. For example, I have created security groups that we will use to control which will access which department share. We will have department shares and user home directory created. So this is basically the groups, okay. And I have shown you the users and the organizational units. Here we can see that this is this is an Excel sheet for the group members. Here we can see that, for example, in our Marvel IT group we will have 3 persons in this security group, which will be Iron Man and Vision and Ultron. You know, Vision and Ultron are the computers in the Marvel or the Avengers universe. Anyway, so this is also will be done through script, and we have some, and this is also the users home directory, users folder for the Marvel team. Okay, anyway, so here we have a couple of things. As I said before, we have the groups, the members. We can here, I'll show you the computers, just a moment. Okay, here we go. This is the computers that will be created. Okay, some of them are also grouped according to the location. For example, we have servers. Here we have PCs. Okay, server will begin with SR and then PC. So here we have also this Excel sheet will be used to create the computers, and here this is most that we will do, and we have our login script. Okay, as I said, I show you all. Okay, here we can see that this is a couple of things. This is some registry keys that will be implemented when the user logs in for each domain. For example, here the language will be added as keyboard English and Arabic, and then search hide, it will hide the Cortana from the taskbar, and then it will implement the Cairo time zone, and then some performance setting to increase the speed or the performance of the Windows. And the first 3 lines is to make this PC icon appears on the desktop, and not only this, to change the icon of this PC to be the name of the workstation. Okay, I have discussed this before in the previous lab, the DC Comics. So anyway, we have here our login script, we have here our CSV files and our scripts that we will use to create them, because for every Excel sheet or every CSV file we have a script that we will use to, for example, have the first line we will use to create the organization units, and the second line will create the groups, and the third line will create computers, and so on. So okay, so, and we are here, we have the backgrounds. Okay, this is the backgrounds that we will have for the Avengers. For example, this is the lock screen that we will have, and we will have this is the screensaver. Okay, and the background, this is the background. Okay, so basically this is most, I will discuss this in details. Okay, but this anyway, this is our folder that we will use to implement, or this is the Excel sheets or the CSV files and the folder scripts that we will use to create our users, groups, organizational units, computers. All of this will be done automatically using PowerShell scripts. Okay, here is the PowerShell scripts, okay, written, and the Excel sheets or the CSV files that will be read or that will be accessed by the PowerShell script to create the computer objects, the user objects, the group objects. Okay, so this is basically for the Marvel. Okay, and as for the DC Comics, we'll have the same. Also, we have here something like import Marvel. Here you go, and this is for the DC users. Anyway, just a moment. So here we will have the same for the Marvel team, sorry, for the DC team. Okay, we have used it in our previous video, the DC Comics. We will use the same. Here is the users, the departments, okay, and everything. We will have here Atom and all of the DC characters, okay, all of them, and every department and where it will be in each organizational unit. Okay, so this is it, and the same we will have scripts also. This is the folder that will contain, for example, the computers, okay, for the DC Comics. Okay, this is the computer names. Okay, and this is the organizational units. Okay, we will have, this is the main organizational unit. We have admins, terminals, robots, security groups, servers, and users, the same as the Marvel group. Okay, and we will have the security groups. Okay, they are also grouped the same as we have done in the Marvel team. They are grouped according to the department or their species or their location, okay, and or the department shares. Okay, so here we have the same. Okay, and we have the computers, and I have shown you all the security groups and the group members. Okay, for example, here we can see that the group of IT in the DC Comics, we have Superman, Batman, myself, and Abensur. So all of this also will be created according to scripts. Okay, this is the script, the same. So we'll do all of this. We will create for both domains their users, groups, group members, computer objects. Everything will be done through scripts, and we have a login script that will be applied to every user. So this is basically the two folders. This is the first folder and this is the second folder. We use these two folders that will contain our scripts that we will use to create our users, groups, and so on. So I think maybe this is let me show you all here. Okay, maybe I think this is enough, because actually I have shown you all what is there. Here we can see that let me see if there is anything missing. So here I said this is all of the scripts and CSV files, and we have here, for example, some group policy templates that we will use. Okay, as I said before, the group policy is used to control every Windows aspects, okay, or every window aspects in the workstations or servers. And actually this also group policy, we can control other things other than Windows. We can control Firefox, Google Chrome, Classic Shell, a lot of things. All of this we can control if we have their ADMX files. This is group policy files, and then we should add it to the folder that contains the Windows group policies. And then here's a couple of some group policies that I have collected, some for them for the Windows and some for the Classic Shell and Firefox and so on. So okay, and I think we don't need anything else. This is just actually I will begin discussing it further. Okay, but for the time being we have here all of our scripts, and everything will be here. So until I see you all the next video, thank you so much, and wait for me until the next video. Thank you.